Are you really just going to sit there while I clean this whole house?
Hey, look, I'm not the one that made these ridiculous plans.
Hey, look, this is not my fault. They asked if they could come over right in front of Pastor Michael, and he had just talked about love reaches out and being in community, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but the Taylors? Come on, they're the worst.
Yeah, I know. Cat people are the worst.
Right? 10 to 1, she breaks out the cat photos in the first 15 minutes.
Well, hey, ever since she made Biscuits his own Facebook page, she's been really good about not bringing out the cat photos at Bible study. She's even made some pretty valid points.
10 to 1, 15 minutes.
Okay, you're on. So if she does, what do you get?
Well, I guess I'll just excuse myself upstairs to do some work in the office while you hang out with your friends downstairs.
Okay, and if she doesn't bring them out, then you have to ask to see them. But, Eugene's okay. He's kind of normal.
I swear, if he breaks out his multi-tool and starts fixing everything, I'm going to lose it.
Well, he's sweet. He's got good intentions.
It's insulting. God, I'm not ready for this.
Get it together, man.
Actually, I think I'm starting to get a headache. I might go lay down.
Don't you dare leave me alone with these people.
What if we just pretend we're not here?
Where else would we be? It's our house. They've already seen our cars in the driveway.
Oh, God, take me now.
Get it together.
Hey,
so glad you're here. Come on in.
Hi, you guys. Oh my goodness. For a second there, we didn't think y'all was home.
It's our doorbell. It's got a short.
God, let me fix that right up for you. I can get her.
You've got to be kidding me.
Oh, we've been so excited that you guys have been coming over all week.
Yeah.
Counting down the days.
Excuse the mess. I didn't really have time to clean up.
Oh my Lanta, your house is so beautiful. You know what it reminds me of? Jane built this house for Biscuits. Look at it. Oh my goodness.
Guess I better be excusing myself to make some drinks.
Yes, sir, Mom. That about does it right there. When you're good, you know what I mean?
He's so talented.
Hey, when I walked in here, I seen your light switches. They a little outdated. I can take care of it for you right now.
Oh, really? That's not necessary.
It ain't no problem. That's what friends are for.
Oh, what is that smell?
Oh, it's roast duck. It's my mom's recipe.
Duck? Like the baby animals is swimming on the pond. Oh, Jean, she's roasting baby wattles. Oh my God.
Now, Claire Bell, it's okay.
Swim toward the light wattles.
She not gonna cook no duck. She knows you a vegetarian.
You know what? That's actually a candle. Let me go blow it out and we'll take you guys out to eat our treat.
Now, see, you thought this evening was going to be awful.
Yeah.
We was a little concerned coming over because, you guys are a little weird and stuff, but y'all all right.
Well, Jane, should we tell them the good news?
Yeah. So, let's take our car, because before we come over here, I started an oil change on both of you's car, and I'll finish it up right when we get back from dinner.
Yeah.
Gee, thanks.
Anytime.
Let's go.
Let's go.
We're finishing up today our series, My Life's a Mess. And I believe many of us might be willing to admit that there may have been times that our lives were a mess because of the fear or the bitterness or the shame we've struggled with, like we've talked about the last several weeks. But many of us might be unwilling to admit that our lives are a mess because of what we're talking about today. Why is that? Because we're fooling ourselves, even as we try and fool others. What we're talking about today is hypocrisy, about being fake. How many of us would be willing to admit we've been as fake as the couple in the drama? How many of us would be willing to admit, like the guy in the video, that there are times when we are two-faced? He said it was almost like he was being a hypocrite. And then he was really honest and said, no, I was being a hypocrite. And he said it was really messing with his life. And we need to get that if we're followers of Jesus, being hypocrites messes not only with our lives, but with the lives of others. Imagine you're seated comfortably in a Starbucks, sipping coffee and enjoying some delicious pastries. Two young adults come in and sit at the table next to you. The guy says, "Can you believe it? He's telling us what we should do and shouldn't do. Where does he get off with that? He can talk all that religious stuff he wants, but I know what he's really like. I know what he does when he thinks no one's looking. Man, he's nothing but a hypocrite." If that's what the church and Christianity are like, I don't want anything to do with it. The girl chimes in. "I went to church when I was a kid. My mom made us go. I hated it. The people there were all dressed up, acting like they were something special, but they'd make fun of the way my sisters and I were dressed. They'd say things like, 'We love everyone,' but then they treated us as if we weren't good enough for them. They're all a bunch of frauds. I'll never go to a church again." Many people in today's world think of the Christian faith this way. Over and over, they've seen people who claim to be Christians act in god-awful ways. They've personally experienced church-going folks who are judgmental and condemning, and their hypocrisy turns them away from God and away from the church, the body of Christ. I read the story of a pompous-looking, self-righteous church deacon who was talking to a class of boys about the importance of living the Christian life. The church deacon asked, "Why do you think people call me a Christian?" There was a pause, and then one of the boys said, "Maybe it's because they don't know you." Hypocrisy is putting on a fake front. It's being inauthentic. It's pretending to be something we're not. Hypocrisy is when there's a mismatch between what we say and what we do. Eric Thanes is a professor at Biola University. At the beginning of each semester, he asks his students to write down 2 things they love and 2 things they hate. Consistently, one of the things his students say they hate the most is fake people. Thanes says he gets why young adults are turned off by phoniness. Their cynicism comes from a church culture that oftentimes tries to hide its imperfections beneath a facade of legalism and self-righteousness. One young adult wrote, "Authentic community, authentic faith, and authentic Jesus are the cry of the new generation. We don't want to be fooled anymore. We don't want to be gullible anymore. We want flawed. We want imperfect. We want real." Did you know that Jesus didn't save his harshest words for thieves or adulterers? Some of his harshest words were targeted toward those who engaged in blatant hypocrisy. He reserved his harshest criticism for self-righteous hypocrites who claimed to follow God, but then acted in ways that were exactly the opposite of what God wants. The truth is that no matter how hard you may try, hypocrisy cannot be hidden indefinitely. Jesus knows when you're faking it, and he doesn't hold back on letting you know what he thinks about it. You pretenders, you clean the outside of a cup and dish, but on the inside, you are full of greed. You only want to satisfy yourselves. With hypocrites, everything may look clean and perfect on the outside. They may know the right things to say. They may know how to look all spiritual. They may know how to play the religious game. On the surface, they follow their rigid religious rules. But out of the view of others, something totally different can be found. In the church I attended when I was young, there was a family who outwardly seemed to be devoutly Christian. They were at church every time the doors were open. The dad was a deacon. The mom was a Sunday school teacher. But over time, their hypocrisy was exposed. The dad had an affair. The mom spread gossip and rumors like wildfire. And their kids' lives got so messed up because of the pain they felt from their parents' hypocrisy. Again and again, I've seen hypocrisy mess up people's lives big time, adults and children. Charles Swindoll writes, "You want to mess up the minds of your children? Here's how guaranteed. Rear them in a legalistic, tight context of external religion where performance is more important than reality. Fake your faith. Sneak around and pretend your spirituality. Train your children to do the same. Embrace a long list of do's and don'ts publicly, but hypocritically practice them privately. Yet never own up to the fact that it's hypocrisy. Act one way, but live another. And you can count on it. Emotional and spiritual damage will occur." Daniel Hill tells of the time he came to grips with the hypocrisy in his life. His parents were divorced when he was 8. During his teenage years, there was a major splintering of his relationship with his sister Lori. Things were said and done. And when Lori turned 18, she was out of there. She couldn't wait to get away. And Daniel was more than happy for her to go. Daniel became a follower of Jesus. He would talk about the unconditional love of God, but all the while, he had this ongoing broken relationship with his sister. And the truth was that he didn't really even care that they were estranged from one another. He finally reached the point where he felt convicted of his hypocrisy, of saying he lived for Christ, but refusing to love and forgive his sister. He came face to face with the reality that he had been a poor reflection of Jesus. The rift between them had grown so great with all the anger and hurt that when Daniel tried to talk with her, Lori didn't want to meet with him one-on-one, but she agreed to meet him with a counselor present. It was tough for Daniel to take an honest look at his life and to own up to his hypocrisy. It was so much easier to blame her and to judge her for her failings. He came to understand what we need to understand. That hypocrisy and judgmentalism go hand in hand. We can be awfully good at seeing the hypocrisy in others. With almost no effort at all, we can judge and condemn other people when they're fake or phony. We don't find it hard at all to identify their mistakes and wrongs. But listen to what Jesus taught. How can you think of saying, "Friend, let me help you get rid of that speck in your eye," when you can't see past the log in your own eye? Hypocrite. Really now, how many times do we accusingly point our finger at others, critically condemning them, when we are guilty of even greater things ourselves? We need to deal with the stuff in our own lives before we even think about speaking to others about what's taking place in theirs, because our hypocrisy can mess up our lives by damaging our relationships with family members, friends, co-workers, and alienate them from us. Not only that, our hypocrisy can damage our relationship with God. Hypocrisy in our lives is a sign that we are far from God. Jesus laid it right out there in saying, Isaiah really knew what he was talking about when he prophesied about you hypocrites. He wrote, "This people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far away from me." There's the story of a well-respected British pastor who took a trolley one Monday morning. He got on, paid the driver, and sat down. As he put his change in his pocket, the pastor realized that the driver had given him too much money back. At first, he thought to himself, "My, how wonderfully God provides." But as he sat there, his conscience convicted him. As he got ready to get off the bus at his stop, he quietly said to the driver, "When I got on, you accidentally gave me too much change." With a smile, the driver then said, "Oh, it was no accident at all. I was in your congregation yesterday and heard your sermon on honesty. I just thought I'd put you to the test, Reverend." You see, every day we're all tested on whether or not we're living lives that are authentic, genuine, true. Every day we're being tested on whether or not we're persons of integrity, whether we're actually living out what we say we believe. And it breaks God's heart that according to surveys, people who attend churches are often no more ethical in the workplace than those who don't. A lot of people say one thing on Sunday, but do something completely different on Monday. It shouldn't be that way. Ask yourself, is God a part of my whole life? Or do I hypocritically compartmentalize my faith and shut God out when it comes to work or school? For those of us who are Christ followers, this is a crucial issue. Why? Because hypocrites can get in the way of people truly coming to know God. Jesus made no bones about it. He said, "You hypocrites, you shut the door of the kingdom of heaven in people's faces. You yourselves do not enter, nor will you let those enter who are trying to." How many people have you heard say that they don't attend church because it's filled with hypocrites? The sad truth is that a lot of people have been truly hurt by persons who have claimed to be Christians. And I want to say that I am deeply sorry for that. My heart breaks when I hear people say that they've been wounded by God's church. My prayer is that in Journey Church, as we seek faithfully to live out the love of Christ in our lives, we will do everything in our power to be a community of faith in which people will in no way be damaged or harmed. With that being said, I want to be upfront with you and also say that I think a lot of people use the issue of hypocrisy in the church as an excuse. They use it as a pretext to justify never seriously grappling with God, the church, ultimate spiritual matters. You see, there's no place on earth where there's no hypocrisy. If you refuse to go any place where there's hypocrisy, you'll never go anywhere. You'll never go to school or work or a ball game. You won't hang out with any friends, and you won't spend any time with your family because you'll find hypocrites in all those places. We in the church should do everything we can to live without pretense. We should be real and not fake because God will hold us accountable. we should acknowledge that to be a hypocrite is to commit sin. But the church is a haven for sinners to come and find Christ, to move towards spiritual renewal and wholeness, to be changed by the power of God's love. I would certainly never claim that the church is perfect. To come to a church hoping there are no sinners is like going to a hospital and hoping not to bump into anyone who's sick. As long as the church is made up of people, you can be sure there will be hypocrites. But to the best of our abilities, we should decide every day that we are going to seek to become more and more authentic, real, loving like Jesus, and less fake and hypocritical. Max Dupree tells the story of his granddaughter Zoe. She was born prematurely and weighed only 1 pound, 7 ounces. She was so small that a wedding ring could slide up her arm all the way to her shoulder. The doctor who first examined her said that she had a 5 to 10% chance of living. To complicate matters, Zoe's biological father had abandoned the family the month before Zoe was born. A wise and caring nurse gave the grandfather some instructions. She said, "You're the surrogate father. I want you to come to the hospital every day to visit Zoe. And when you come, rub her body and her legs and her arms with the tip of your finger. While you're caressing her, you should tell her over and over how much you love her. That way, she'll be able to connect your voice and your touch." That's how we're supposed to live as Christ followers. Instead of there being a mismatch between what we say and do, our words and our actions should be connected and should be filled with love. It may be that you've been hurt so badly by hypocrisy that it's tough for you to buy into much of the Christian faith. You look at the broken copies of Jesus like me, who sometimes fail and fall into hypocrisy, and you think you want nothing to do with it. But I hope you'll look to the original source, Jesus. I hope you'll connect His love and touch in your life. If you do, I think you'll find there's nothing fake or phony about Him. I think you'll find that He alone offers the answers you're seeking. I think you'll find that He can make a radical difference in your life. I hope you won't let anything get in the way of your pursuing a real, authentic relationship with Jesus. And if so, what are you waiting for? Right now, I'm going to lead in a prayer of commitment. And I invite you, if you would, to bow your heads, close your eyes. And as I lead in this prayer of commitment, if you're ready to take a leap into faith, if you're ready to move beyond selfishness and hypocrisy and being fake, if you're ready to embrace who you truly are, created in the image of God, and to be forgiven, I invite you to pray this prayer along with me silently. Dear Jesus, I know in my life there are times I've put on this fake front. I pretended I had it all together around other people. I put on this facade. But inside, there's been this sense of emptiness, this sense that something was missing. And Jesus, I'm understanding finally that it's you. So right now, Jesus, I admit my sin and my selfishness and my living for me. I admit that I have not followed in your way. And I ask you, Jesus, to forgive me. I ask you to send your amazing grace into my life. I ask that you would remove from me all the guilt and the shame and the unforgivingness I have toward myself. And I ask that you might create a new spirit in me. Jesus, I believe that you died on the cross for me, for my sins, for my failings. I believe you were buried in the tomb, and I believe you were raised to new life on the third day, that I might have a new life, a fresh start. And so, Jesus, right now, I put my full faith and trust in you as the leader of my life, the Savior of my life, the rescuer of my life. And Jesus, I commit now and for all the rest of my days to seek to live in your way of love and caring and compassion, mercy, goodness. As I make this commitment, I know, Jesus, sometimes I'm going to mess up. I'm going to screw up. And I pray that you'll just forgive me again and give me a fresh start anew. As from this moment on, I seek to live in your love as a follower of yours. I pray this in your strength. Amen. If you prayed that prayer of commitment, I really want to urge you to go to our website, journeyconnection.com, and click on the eConnect card there. Please let us know of the decision you've made so that we can follow up with you, to let you know how you might move forward in deepening in your faith. If you did not make the decision, but you have spiritual questions, you would like to learn more about Jesus, you want to find out what this Christian faith means, let us know that through your eConnect card, and we'll engage with you in a conversation either online or in person in some way. If you made the decision to follow Jesus and you've not yet been baptized, we're planning an outdoor baptism service next month, and you may want to be a part of that. Please put that information on your eConnect card. We'll be in contact with you and provide you some information about it. Or if you're not in the Roanoke region and you don't think you can participate in person in a baptism service, please still let us know, and hopefully we can make some arrangements for you to be baptized to show that, yeah, you're a follower of Jesus. Thank you so much for following through and however God is leading you to make a decision for Jesus right now. Let's worship together again as the band leads us. We're so delighted that you're a part of this worship experience, and hopefully you've had a sense of God's Spirit communicating with you. You've experienced some of the love and grace and mercy of God. You may have even discovered a new direction for your life. We want you to know that if we can help you connect in meaningful relationships, we want to do that. We are a community of faith composed of imperfect people, but we are trying to live for Jesus. So if you'd like to try out one of our journey groups to get to know some people in our community of faith, whether that be online or in person, on your connection card, your eConnect card, please let us know that. If you would like to make a difference in some people's lives by serving and ministering and caring, please let us know that. We'll connect you up. If you want to financially support the ministries of this church, and you've been a part of our online congregation for some time, we invite you to take the step of deepening in your faithfulness, increasing in your generosity. You can go to our website and give in that way. You bless the lives of people in Journey Church when you do that. But you also make a difference in our community, because a portion of your gifts go to our mission partners, and one of those mission partners is Habitat for Humanity. And right now, we're making plans to be a part of a habitat build in which we help build a home for a needy family in our community. I invite you to give and give generously to make a difference for Christ and to show the love of Jesus. Thank you so much for being with us in this series, My Life is a Mess. And we hope you'll be back with us next weekend, on Mother's Day weekend, as we begin a brand new series. God bless you.